Chapter so we can see her screen and see what she's got for us tonight. Okay, can you see that? Yep, it just came up. Okay, it's not the best picture, but it kind of, I thought when you're trying to pick a supplement or a feed, you kind of feel alone going down the trail there. So what this webinar is about is we're going to try and simplify the labels and the tags, the supplements, and also really put them into perspective on where they fall in the horse's diet so that you can hopefully make some good decisions about supplements and feeds in the future. So we're going to begin by dissecting a label, or sometimes they're called a tag. Obviously the product name is going to be there. It may or may not reflect the intended use of the product, but there should be a purpose statement there which will indicate what this product is for, what horses it's for, and the intended purpose of it. Now, supplements and feeds, commercial processed equine feeds and supplements generally fall into 4 categories. The first category is a textured feed, and that would be considered your sweet feeds. Processed feeds are pelleted or extruded. I think most of us are familiar with the pelleted feeds, and they eliminate fines. Extruded feeds, though, are processed underneath extreme pressure. They explode the nugget, increasing the surface area and rate of passage through the digestive system. Going through some type of process like that, I'm not sure how they're allowing for the loss of nutrient value. Complete feeds are concentrates like grains and vitamins and minerals combined all in one with the forage. So really, in all actuality, what you're going to feed is this complete item and water. So it's going to have your vitamins and minerals and your forage in here. It's generally indicated for medical conditions, like a senior horse or maybe a horse that just went through colic surgery. People also use it if they do not have access to quality hay, or if they're traveling and carrying bales of hay is just not an option. Some sources of those fibers will be beet pulp, chopped alfalfa hay, rice, wheat, and etc. And then the last category is supplements. And of these, you're going to be maybe feeding small amounts. They might have trace minerals or macro minerals, proteins, and may have a combination of all those things. Next on your label, you're going to see the guaranteed analysis, which will give you amounts of specific nutrient contained in that particular product. So you may see minimum levels of protein, crude protein and crude fat, and a maximum of crude fiber. These generally are listed in percentages. Most guarantees will give you amount per pound of that product. If it's different from that, that may also hopefully be listed on the tag for you. But for us, we are guaranteeing what is in this particular item of that nutrient per pound. You will see minimum and maximum percentages of calcium and phosphorus, maybe some other macro minerals. Copper or trace minerals like zinc and selenium and copper, you might see those listed in parts per million, or in milligrams. Vitamins you will see generally listed in international units per pound. If there are other items added to the guarantee, they may be there because the manufacturer feels that you need to know that there is this amount of this particular nutrient in this item so that you can take that in consideration with the rest of the horse's diet. Or it may be guaranteeing a nutrient that has a specific purpose or intention for this product. So like a hoof supplement, you will see biotin and methionine listed there, maybe some other trace minerals, because generally that's what people are looking for a little more of in a hoof supplement. You will have also on your label the feeding directions and a list of ingredients. The ingredient listed first will be the greatest amount, and the last will be the least in amount. process or processed feeds or complete feeds are formulated with least cost analysis or least cost formulation, which will ensure that the guarantee analysis doesn't change. The product or formulation may change itself, but the cost of that product is going to stay low, the need for it to stay low, obviously. So the least cost diet formulation will use the most inexpensive ingredient, yet maintain what is listed on the product guarantee. As a result, the percentage of ingredients may vary. You may have less of corn and more of oats or vice versa, or any feed ingredient, because the market is so volatile. The cost of specific nutrients, or if we had a bad crop that year and the amount of that crop is limited, price goes up. So feed companies are going to be, especially large manufacturers who have machinery and computers that are allowed to do this, they can formulate with less of the expensive ingredient, more of the least cost ingredient, yet the guarantee or the amount of protein is going to remain the same. Other information on the feed tag will be the manufacturer's name, address, phone number, website, maybe an email, and it must have a guarantee of the net weight in that product, in that bag or bucket. Here's our Rush Creek label. Now that we've kind of gone through and dissected a label for you, you're going to have Rush Creek as a product name. Underneath that is the purpose statement. It's a free choice item. It's for all classes of horses and breeds, no matter what age also. Your guaranteed analysis, we have percentages, we have parts per million, your vitamins, and you may not be able to see these very well. But again, I blow these up so the text has a tendency to get disrupted. But we have IU per pound or per LB, that's international units per pound. Ingredients, you have your ingredient listing, you have your directions, your manufacturer's information, the amount of product that you should receive in this package, and on our labels we also have an item number. So before moving forward with the rest of this webinar, I want you to put into perspective the horse's diet as a whole. A 1,000-pound horse or 500-kilogram horse will or should be drinking 90 pounds of water and on average 20 pounds of dry matter. Anything on top of that is going to be fed in small amounts and is going to be filling in gaps from your water or your hay, or it's going to be filling in nutritional imbalances from either one of those, or it's going to be meeting a specific need. So when I have customers or clients call in and they have a lot of questions about their horse's diet, we spend a lot of time on supplements, but I try and push them back and say, okay, what kind of water do you have? Is it well water? Is it chlorinated water? Is it hard water? Because all of that is going to impact the rest of the diet. Okay, what kind of hay do you have? How much of the hay does your horse get? And then I'm going to go to supplements. So I like this. Everybody's familiar with the triangle that you see in elementary or middle schools, telling us what our children's diet should consist of. I found somewhat of the same thing for horses here, and I found it to be an oxymoron because they have forage first, yet the foundation of this triangle is, and I know you can't read it, the supplemented energy feeds or fortified feeds. On the lower left, lower right, in the middle we have concentrated energy supplements, and we have mineral and vitamin products. So even if I turn this triangle upside down, thinking because I want forage to be more important than obviously these processed items, And water is not even taken into consideration here. And so this is a triangle or a paradigm that I like to refer to. And I know this one's for people. It's from the University of Michigan. I like the title of it, Healing Foods Pyramid. The bottom of this pyramid is water, and the next up is fruits and vegetables. But when we pertain to horses, it's going to be predominantly fiber sources. Maybe some fruits as snacks, but that's really where we need to place our emphasis. We want the horses to retrieve their natural occurring vitamins and minerals from their water and their forages first, go to buying what we term off the farm, and use less amounts of those buying off the farm. So we need to concentrate on what the majority of the horse's diet is actually providing for us. So now we can move forward. Protein, a lot of people spend time looking for protein supplements solely and not take into consideration other important nutrients of their horse's diet. So one, before you go hunting for a protein supplement, you need to take into consideration the amount of protein in your forage first. If you're feeding an alfalfa type forage, you're certainly not going to be looking for a high protein supplement because protein in alfalfa, it can be very high. So you're certainly going to want to take into consideration the forage that you're utilizing. And realistically, we have a tendency to overfeed protein to our horses. They're really not, and I'll say this, they're not pigs and they're not cows. They're desert animals. They live on the desert and they live off sprigs of forage here or there. And they do well on that type of scenario or in that type of an environment. Lush pasture can be scary. It can contain high protein as well. So if you're looking for a protein supplement in the spring and you have the horse on a lush pasture, that's certainly going to cause you some problems. So need to take everything into consideration. The protein range that I like to stay in, considering the whole diet, is 8 to 12%. When we're looking at complete feeds or processed feeds, they're processed and formulated with high protein because they're targeting the money market, which is the thoroughbred market. That's what they're targeting. So generally, those types of feeds are not conducive to our backyard horse or even some of our lower performance type horses. I bring this up. I don't feel, although I found this in some data, that protein deficiencies, you can look on the upper right hand here, could be discerned either with a rough coat, not shedding. Obviously looking too skinny could be, but also high protein diets can lead to diarrhea and also give you a horse losing weight. Hoof problems, I generally don't look at protein there, but what I wanted you to really see here is what to look for if you're feeding too much protein. Horses will be urinating more than other horses, and their urine will have a strong ammonia odor to it. So look at protein in your feed supplements, whether that is what you're intending to purchase or not. Those protein sources will be coming from carriers of certain supplements. Fat and fiber you will see on your labels, majority of your labels. Crude fat is one indicator of the foods or the feed's energy content or calorie content. Fat is very energy dense, 2.5 times more energy, and it's also 2.5 times more digestible per pound than carbohydrates or protein. So any grains, even pasture or fiber, it is a lot more digestible. The higher the minimum percentage of crude fat, the higher calories per pound, thus you generally have to feed less of it. So that's why when we're feeding or utilizing maybe a stabilized flax meal, you only need to feed 4 to maybe 6 to 8 ounces of it to reap or put weight on a horse rather than 2 pounds or even more of a grain-based type diet or food. Fiber on the label is listed here, and it's going to tell you it's also a good indicator of energy. Higher fiber in that food source will mean less fat, so less calories. So as fiber increases, energy or calorie content will decrease. Your labels will also show maximum and minimum of your macro minerals. The main ones that you will see are calcium and phosphorus. But again, don't place your focus there. There are other macro minerals that are very important to the horse's nutritional paradigm. Trace minerals can be listed on the guarantee as well. You will see those either in parts per million, and you will also see those in milligrams. They are needed in small amounts in the horse's body, but the impact is huge. So don't count out those trace minerals if you're looking for a complete mineral profile supplement. Salt is commonly found in processed foods, and I've talked about that in previous webinars. I really try and avoid force-feeding salt for various reasons. If led to their own devices, horses will typically consume 1 to 3 ounces of free choice salt daily. So let's look at our trace mineralized salt blocks. A lot of people put out those red blocks, or they use other trace mineral blocks. Out of those containing 2% trace minerals, the horse will only be able to satisfy equal to or less than 33% of their trace mineral requirements. So even though it's ingrained into horse owners' heads that those trace mineral blocks are meeting horses' nutritional requirements, they aren't. They may help. I mean, obviously they give you a third, which is better than nothing, but this is why we resort to not incorporating salts in with our minerals. Thus we have the Rush Creek, and then salt is corrosive to vitamins, so Rush Creek is complete vitamin and mineral, minus selenium, and then we offer salt on the side, a non-iodized, non-mineralized white salt, because we do not want the trace minerals being limited by salt, and we don't want the salt being limited by the trace minerals. Now you can have multiple salt sources in your pasture or in your sheds or in stalls. Generally, salt sources are inexpensive. Just make sure that your blocks don't have sugars or molasses or things of that nature, which would increase their consumption and get their sodium as well as trace minerals out of balance. But I tell people often, put out white salt, put out Redmond salt, use your Himalayan salt licks if you want. Let the horse choose. Other nutrients on the label, you will certainly want to check. I mean, the guarantee tells you what is in this product of this particular nutrient. It's the ingredient list that is going to tell you the source of that nutrient. Digestibility of an ingredient is certainly going to vary. So let's say, for instance, sulfates are more digestible or water-soluble than oxides and carbonates. Organics or chelated sources are going to have increased digestibility. Obviously, they may be more expensive, but you use less. Things to look for in the ingredient list, and I've got my fortified label here, or ABC's fortified. If you look for listings with terms chelate, amino acid, complex, proteins, those are going to be your increased digestibility type items. So and chelate means that if they're tied to an amino acid or a fat, that means the body will utilize that amino acid or fat, pull it away, and then they have this free nutrient, whatever it may be. So here we have a cobalt choline citrate complex. That's a chelated. L-methionine complex, some things to look for. What's another one here? Well, we have manganese sulfate, but we also have manganese, see if I can find it, oxide, and we use multiple sources for various reasons, but then we also have it chelated down here with an amino acid a little bit down on the label. So pay attention to what those sources are. If you're looking for a vitamin supplement, a minimum should be there of these, at least these B vitamins. And if you're looking for vitamins, you may have a choice between natural and synthetic. If there's a D, like in vitamin E, we have on our fortified label here, natural source vitamin E. Behind that you will see parentheses D hyphen alpha hyphen tocopherol acetate. That is going to indicate to you that it's a natural source of vitamin E, meaning that the horse is going to have more ability to utilize it. If you just see vitamin E supplement in the label, that would generally be, and they may not have it listed there, but it would be a D and the letter L together, indicating to you that it's a synthetic form of that vitamin. And I know that it's difficult to shop and compare labels from one company to the next. There's oranges to apples, so you will need to take time and learn a little bit. Don't be afraid to ask people. Let's see, unless stated specifically, you will not be able to ascertain what the quality of the ingredients are on the ingredient list. The quality makes a huge impact on the nutrient profile in that feed. If you use a high quality food or high quality feed source like oats, where there are more natural occurring nutrients in it, and then not process it, because with processing you tear out those or destroy those natural occurring nutrients, then you have to put it back in with synthetics. So that is why you see processed foods, they will have the oats and the grains and things, they're using that for calories, but if there were any other nutrients located within those, they're going to supply it back in, and generally in a synthetic form. One of the reasons that, or one of the things that we've done to combat and make sure that our ingredients are of a quality assured for us is to become certified organic processor handler, which we have done and are since 2003. We believe that if food sources, no matter what they are certified organic, we believe that the nutrient profile there is going to be increased rather than something else just grown on a majority of our producers' farm grounds. Manufacturers do not use the same energy values for similar ingredients on their labels. They also may not use the same unit of measure, so it may make it certainly difficult to make a decision. Some things that to impact your choices is, I get more and more people calling in here because they're using a complete feed or processed food because they want something to put their vitamins on, their supplements on, or they want to, well, this horse is getting a pound and this horse is overweight, but I feel like I have to throw him a handful of something. And so they're not feeding the recommended dosage anyway, so that particular horse is not going to be reaping the nutrients that it needs to be, so there's really no need to feed it at all. If they don't need the calories, just stick to your foundation of water and hay and fill in the nutritional gaps or imbalances by using a vitamin and mineral supplement. If you feel like you need to offer that horse a little something, use a handful of oats or barley, something like that that is not going to be provided with synthetics and other things, preservatives, some of those things, grain byproducts that I just really try and avoid. So I think I've covered a lot of those points already. I think nowadays we need to realize that our water and our hay is going to need to be supplemented in some way, shape, or form if we're expecting our horse to perform. And, of course, we're going to utilize supplements that are going to meet a specific health concern, like a joint supplement. We have other specific supplements, and I know other companies as well, to help equine metabolic, maybe Lyme, Cushing's, EPM, some of those other things that they're specifically formulated to help a horse with a specific problem or disease. More and more of us are ordering items off the internet, and I refuse to order anything where I do not see the entire label. Many companies just show you the guarantee analysis, but as we all are now educated, we know that that does not tell us what they're using as their sources. So don't buy it if you don't see the whole label. This is kind of a controversial topic. Do we take nutritional consult from our veterinarians? Some veterinarians really understand that nutrition impacts the entire health of the animal, and nutrition may even be the cause of some diseases. Holistic veterinarians certainly understand that impact. Other veterinarians don't, but maybe that's not the focus of their practice. They may carry items, feed items in their practice, and they're using it, kind of to help pay the bills. It may not be the best product to recommend. So just take your veterinarian's nutritional choices and kind of digest those, or maybe if you're really comfortable with your veterinarian, then certainly by all means feel comfortable with what they recommend as far as supplements go. Do not over-supplement. Horses can manage very well on simple diets, and we need to kind of try and keep it that way. If you do make a diet change, make sure you journal, and sometimes you may not know if you reap a benefit from a supplement until you try it, unfortunately. Make one diet change at a time, and don't cut yourself out of the equation. You know your horse more than anyone else, so you may take advice from someone else on what they're using for a feed supplement or what they're doing. You may even talk to me. You may talk to other consultants or professional consultants or other professionals, but don't cut yourself out of the equation. If we recommend a product to you that just kind of you don't feel good about, say something or do a little more research. So when someone calls and we discuss a horse's diet, what the problems are, or what they're trying to do with this horse, not only do I need to take into consideration what that person is telling me, and it may take a while because I want to get perception of the diet as well as the horse, but I need to meet the needs of the horse and as well as meet the needs of what the horse owner is trying to accomplish this horse. So listen to what your gut instincts tell you when you touch a bag or when you look at that label. You are an integral part of that horse's paradigm. So hopefully this information has given you a foundation to make some good choices and lead you down the right path. Okay.